Hi, I'm Miles Mpfou. I am 21 and I'm a final year student. I'm a final year student in my third year of electrical and electronic engineering. Before I go into my journey, I would firstly like to thank all of the teachers and the non-teaching staff and the school for reaching out to me to comment on my positive experience at the ISB, which was very pleasant, enjoyable, and highly rewarding. So just to give you some scope as to, the decisions I made to be where I am today. Since the age of 15, I had the opportunity to work at Roche Pharmaceuticals, where I began working in the digital division and working in other functions from 2015 until 2019. Further to that, in ISB, I also took the opportunity in middle school and high school to found different societies. Raspberry Pi Coding Society, where I taught students how to use the Raspberry Pi terminal using Linux, and Maths and Engineering Society, where I encourage students to participate in the ETH Maths Academy and also just go through some of the problems we discussed in that Maths Academy. And then finally, I participated in Model United Nations, where I worked as a delegate, or worked, I think that's not very appropriate, but I fulfilled the role as a delegate, and I guess I worked my way up to be chair of the Security Council in 12th grade. And so essentially by seizing all of these opportunities or creating them in pharma and I guess tech and politics in the sense of Model United Nations, I was able to develop a holistic toolkit that included commercial, analytical, and interpersonal skills. And I think the end goal was just to find what I was most passionate about and what interested me the most. And for me, I found that to be engineering because it was the field that aligned all of these interests. And basically, it was something that I enjoyed doing, where you're taking, a problem and trying to find an innovative solution. And that solution can have ramifications that are political, economic, and social. I chose electrical and electronic engineering, particularly more so inclined to the electrical engineering aspect of that, due to the fact climate change was, a very huge topic and still is obviously today, and increasing importance thanks to, numerous people such as Greta Thunberg. And so that was the specific engineering I chose. And then in terms of what university I applied to, well, I applied to UCL and I got accepted. However, unfortunately, I missed my offer by a slight margin, but I was fortunate enough to be accepted into Warwick for the same course. When I went to Warwick, I was still unsure about what I wanted to pursue, after the degree in my first year, but thanks to some good mentorship from my sister, she made me consider, the potential of going into finance, because finance is a great place to apply your analytical skills, but also do it in sort of a financial setting, which is equally as intellectually stimulating. And so I tried to apply to things called Spring Weeks, and these are basically like 1 week internships in April that you can look up, that companies like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, or Goldman Sachs run, but they're mainly for first years. And then following that, I was unsuccessful because I just wasn't committed to the process through and throughout. But then I learned from that, and I then decided to be a part of the Finance Society at Warwick. And in the Finance Society, I did sort of content producing roles, and I was exposed to the different facets of finance, such as investment banking and private equity. And this really informed me for the next internship or next application round, which was summer internships. So throughout the summer of, and I guess early or late spring of 2019, I began working on applications. And fortunately, I was successful to get accepted into a role at HSBC, where I worked in a division known as Global Liquidity Cash Management. And that essentially is just a division in the Treasury. And in this division, I just learned how the bank helps clients to process the payments, whether that's using a blockchain or using a checking system. It was a great experience. I got a lot of analytical skills out of it. However, I found that finance wasn't ultimately my passion, but I found that I was more interested in helping businesses meet their goals, reach their goals, and solve other problem. And as such, now I've decided to join the 180, or I haven't decided to join, I'm a part of the 180 Degrees Consulting Society, which is the largest student society across the globe, as they have different chapters at different universities. And in this society, I'm now sort of working with a client to help them increase their market share. I can't really specify much because of non-disclosure agreements. So just to summarize my journey, the three things that I would recommend when it comes to sort of your career that you're planning, as this is something that you'll be doing for 44 years, or more or longer. I think you need to figure out what your passion is. So what do you dream about, or what do you find yourself thinking about the most? And if you don't know, read different things that are intellectually stimulating using the resources in the ISB library, or even watch podcasts like from Joe Rogan, from people whom you admire. And then the second thing is just be persistent at whatever goal you're trying to achieve that you set for yourself based on your passion, and recognize that IB itself is a marathon and life is a marathon, but you just always have to keep at it. And even though you might have off days, make sure those off days are not too detrimental. And then finally, you have to be patient. You have to recognize that not everything is going to happen at once you dedicate yourself to whatever plan you've set for yourself. You have to find a way that you can create a reward system that allows you to recognize that things are going to take time to happen, but then also make sure that it's sustainable and you don't obviously burn out by putting yourself under immense pressure. And I think the last thing is, try and do things with intention. Make sure that whatever you're doing it because you want to do it and not because other people are doing. Because when I, wanted to go into finance, I think I was sort of swayed because other people who were doing engineering were doing it. And obviously I had an interest, but it wasn't my most authentic one. And I think the last point I would, state is, when it comes to anything you want to do in this world, I think you should always try and find someone who's already done it and sort of kind of study what they've done, so that you don't have to end up reinventing the wheel, but you can remodel it and do it better. So I think just to summarize that, you need to work smart just as much as you work hard. So yeah, that's all I have to say about my journey and where I've come from. Thank you for your time. I apologize for the extension, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.